Welcome back to Arise Prime Time, where we try to get answers about the most important questions of the day from a range of newsmakers and global experts. I'm Charles Aniekulu. In a moment, I'll introduce you to my two guests who are with me for the rest of the program, analysing what we've heard so far on the show and beyond, including, of course, my conversation with a man who has consistently fought for justice and civil rights in this country, the lawyer, constitutional expert and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, who joined us at the top of the program. Well, now, as mentioned, I have two guests with me for the rest of the program who will give us their personal take on the news and some of the issues of the day. Dr. Law Mefor is a public policy analyst well known across Nigeria, and Chief George Agbakahi is a political analyst and ranking member of Nigeria's ruling APC party. Thank you very much indeed to both of you for coming in. I'll start with you, Dr.
Thank you for hosting us.
Yeah, I'll start with you, Dr. Mefor. I mean, you listened avidly to the firebrand Femi Falana there. I mean, and he had so much to say, and a lot of things he says make a lot of sense. Did they make sense to you?
Well, first, Falana is one great Nigerian that many of us really connect with. And he makes sense almost all the time. And tonight also, he actually made quite a bit of sense. But I fundamentally disagree with him on a number of issues. When he says we don't need to pay attention to certain national contours, you know,
things like religion,
things
and ethnicity,
sure,
and so on, right?
I'll tell you why. Nigeria, unfortunately, up to today, is still a geographical expression. What that means is that those primordial sentiments that define Nigeria, chiefly religion and ethnicity, they are here with us. And until we resolve them, pretending that they do not exist will be a very mortal mistake. And that's the kind of error, I believe, that great Falana committed. And taking my bearing from that, essentially, I think that because we have all come to the fact that Nigeria is still a geographical expression, you need to factor in some of these things in taking certain decisions. Nigeria is made up of 250 ethnic groups, you know, and ordinarily they are, you know, nationalities that if given the opportunity could have proceeded on their own as countries. If you check the smallest countries of the world, you will discover that this Nigerian nation state can be broken into well over 30 countries. The facts are there statistically. If you use the figure that gives the population of the smallest country in the world and divide 220 million of us by that, you will discover that many more countries can be broken out of Nigeria. What does that tell you? It means that essentially that Nigeria, you know, is made up of many nations. If you look at the three major ethnic nationalities, Igbos, Hausas, and Yorubas, they are essentially nations on their own. None of them is less than 30 million, you know, people. How many countries of the world are 30 million? What's the population of countries like Argentina, Australia, and so on and so forth? So these ethnic nationalities essentially are countries. So if you are bringing them together, you have to really work things out. The founding fathers of Nigeria had very serious conversation, what we call the constitutional conferences, that culminated in the country's independence, and they agreed that Nigeria can be composed and run best as a federal system. The military came in, set aside federal system of government, imposed a unitary system. That is where the whole problem is emanating from. One thing I agree with Falana on is the issue of getting the candidates to commit to what they will do. But he fell short of one essential point. What has happened to Nigeria is departing from federalism and forcing the country into a unitary system.
So it is essential in your assessment to return to that federalism, because that's the core of how this country... That is our
problem. Now, let me drop this so I can yield position to my friend. Let me drop this. Nigeria's problem are twofold. Doesn't go beyond these two things. One is structure, and it is actually number one. The other is leadership. Why structure comes first is because unless you deal with the structures, the issue of unemployment, productivity, unity, all those things will remain an empty phrase. And that's exactly what I expect that should be put on the table. Those who say or bring in or talk about restructuring, they are actually, playing to the gallery. The word is not restructuring. The word is restoring Nigeria to federalism. The word is restoration. Restore the country to federalism. Once you do that, Nigeria will rev again. And whoever is saying that the candidates must commit, must have them to commit to restoring Nigeria to federalism.
That's a brilliant analysis. Let me bring you in, Dr. Agbakahi, Chief Agbakahi. I want to thank you very much indeed for your patience. You are, of course, a member of the ruling APC party. What's your assessment of what that analysis he just gave? And why is it something that we haven't seen being applied by the APC, which has been ruling Nigeria for almost 8 years?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think in the first place, we should all agree that, religion, ethnicity are integral parts of our polity. But it is important to note that religion and ethnicity, that is our diversity, shouldn't be the overriding factor in our political arrangement. I quite understand, the tension that has been created, in the polity in respect of Muslim ticket, Christian ticket, But listen, let me tell you, Nigeria is a great country. We need the best. What we want is competence. What we want is a candidate that, has that sagacity, in terms of judgment. A candidate that can unite this country.
Yeah, but if you want to unite the country, why do you put something that is provocative into that leadership?
Well, it all depends on the candidate in question. Let's see, the vice presidential candidate of APC, Senator Shetima, whom I know the person we are all referring to in this particular respect, look at his value system. Look at the kind of person he is, his orientation as a governor of Borno State. There are a lot going on for him in terms of his relationship with members of other religion, other ethnic groups. This is a man whose policies all along has been devoid of ethnicity, of religion. This is somebody that helped sponsor, Christian pilgrims to Jerusalem. Is unheard of, of any of the, northern governors. This is somebody, when Boko Haram burnt a lot of churches in Maiduguri, this gentleman came and rebuilt all these churches. And more importantly, even in his own family currently, he has adopted son that is an Igbo man. Most of us did not know about this until lately. He had an adopted daughter, I think either from Urobo. So let us look at the heart of the person in question.
Not for religion.
And not for religion.
Right, but in that respect, though, what do you make of the news that the APC has been accused of having fake bishops in order to create the impression that its vice presidential candidate, Kashim Shettima, and its Muslim ticket has the support of the Christian community? Because the APC is denying that, of course, but it's denying that the clergymen were fake. But we're hearing that there were sort of mechanics and yam sellers putting on sort of bishop robes.
Well, I think these are things we all hear get from the social media. I was personally present at the unveiling of our eminent vice presidential candidate, His Excellency Senator Shettima. See, it elicited an outpouring of support if you were there yesterday, it was awesome. You know, there was a lot of support. There were too many people from all over the country. And as well, there were clergymen. You know, so it's not for me here to say whether or not the clergymen are fake. But I doubt seriously. I saw, gentlemen, APC is a huge party. And mind you, that event is an open event. It was not restricted. So there were different people. Igbos, Yorubas, Hausa, Fulani, Northerners. Different kinds of people attended the event, including clergymen, bishops. So it's a surprise to me, you know, to hear that they are fake bishops. So unless there are proof to show there are.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I see that things emanating from the social media.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I doubt seriously that they are fake bishops.
Well, let's move away from that and not sort of dwell on it. Let me come back to you, Dr. Law Mefor. Do you think that voters this time have enough good options in terms of the candidates with different manifestos and agendas for the people of Nigeria?
I think they do. But before I answer that question, I just want to throw in a word.
Sure.
You know, and then
make that brief, and then come back.
Yes, very, very brief.
Yeah.
The so-called bishops are fake. Do you know how I know? The can itself is made up of 6 blocks. If you are not within any of these 6 blocks, you are not part of can, you are not a Christian, let alone being a bishop. And can came out today to say that they don't know these people.
Yes, they did.
And I challenge Arise to ask APC to produce one of the bishops on this program. It's simple. So let's come back to the question you asked. And again, before I answer that question, he presented Kashim as a very competent person. I doubt the competence of Shatima to really be a kind of tailor-made vice presidential candidate. I doubt it. I will return to that after answering your question. You see, you are asking whether the electorate have options now to really
Good
make
options.
decisions. Of course, I believe. You know, the 3 main presidential candidates, the 3 main political parties, I believe they represent options. APC, Tinubu, Shetima, Muslim ticket. They represent what I consider continuity. It means that if you are happy, well taken care of, you are in a progressive, upwardly mobile country, things are better now than they used to be, why not? You vote for continuity. Because that's what Tinubu said, that is what Shetima said, that they would continue from where President Buhari would leave off. And I have been around since Buhari took over 7 years ago plus. And all I see is toxic leadership. As a social psychologist, I tell you what toxic leadership is. Toxic leadership is the kind of leadership that leaves a place worse than it met it. And that is how I see the APC federal government. Things may be bad in 2015, but they have made things worse. That is toxic leadership. There can be a better definition. PDP, Atiku, Okowa, maybe, you know, from the old, background. But again, they are coming from the PDP that was removed because we were promised an El Dorado, that the old Buhari Diabon of 1983-84 is back. That is not what we have. And if you compare PDP and APC, you will see that it's like comparing apple and orange. They are not the same. And I keep getting worried when many Nigerians try to tar APC and PDP with the same brush. They can't be. Check the cost of goods and services. 2015, look at the exchange rate. Look at the cost of fuel. Look at the cost of diesel. Look at our external debt profile. Look at our external reserves. And
yeah,
so
but
on.
I don't mean to interrupt you,
No.
but the fact must be that the fact remains that
Yes.
the PDP was removed for a reason by the Nigerian people. Whether or not the APC
No.
has met their
That's the
expectations
point.
is
That's
another
the point.
thing. But
I
they were
am not-
removed because
I am-
people perceived them to be mismanaging the country.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Propaganda. PDP was removed because of propaganda.
Okay, well,
And
I
that
must
propaganda has unraveled to the point
Okay,
that
I must
APC
give
has
him
made a mess of the country.
I must give him a chance to react
Yes.
to that.
I don't think it's important for us to start talking about the PDP leadership in this great country from 1999 to 2016. They caused the problem we are having in this country. We know all what happened in their infrastructural development. The electricity problem we are having in this country started from PDP government.
Well, it started before that,
Yes,
to be fair.
yes.
Yeah.
But we also know fully well how the PDP government, in terms of, AEDC, how it was kind of privatized to cronies. And that's why we are having the problem we are having in electricity up to today. But my colleague was talking about, what APC has done from 2015 till this moment. But mind you, during the APC time was when we had COVID. It was clear. We also have this war that's going on in Ukraine.
But COVID lasted for a year.
Almost a year and a half. It has not
yes.
ended. It has not ended.
And COVID, yeah, but the economy is basically back to working as if it has ended.
and also
secondly, the Ukraine war only started at the end of the first quarter of this year.
Yes.
So it's only been there for a few months.
Yes.
So you can't attribute all the years that you've been in office to what happened in 2021 and 2022.
No, I'm just saying that is part of it. But in the area of infrastructural development, particularly road construction, the APC government of President Muhammadu Buhari has done a whole lot. Go to the eastern area, go to the east. The road from Ajokuta, Lokoja Ajokuta, all the way to Enugu, from Enugu to Port Harcourt, which has never been touched. Even during the PDP years, the contract was awarded.
Yeah, but then who's going to drive on those roads when there's so much insecurity?
No, but what I'm saying that currently this road has been done. So, but the issue in this election we are talking about is this. In every election, you have to look at the track record of accomplishment of all the candidates. That is the determinant. That is how you measure. Because you find out that in Nigerian politics, you and I, we all know that the issue of ideology is not there. All these politicians, whether you're in PDP, whether you're APC, in fact, it's quite on record that many of them in PDP have now joined Labour Party.
That is true.
To contest on that platform. I'm aware of Senate Minority Leader is now in ABGA or in Labour Party.
Yeah, but you also have movements between APC going both ways.
That is what I'm saying.
Right.
So that is why it is important for us to focus attention at what have you done in the past.
Okay.
And at that, in that respect, you look at, former Governor Tinubu of Lagos State. Look at his track record.
Okay.
Look at that of Shetima in Bono. Look at their track record.
We will try and do that as much as possible. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Chief George Agbakahi, political analyst, ranking member of Nigeria's ruling APC party, and of course, Dr. Law Mefor, who is a public policy analyst. Fascinating discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Arise Primetime. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye, and thank you for watching.